All right, good morning. A couple things I want to talk to y'all about. The concept of you can do more than you think. I've got to get a few things done here in Houston today, but I would like to share a few stories with you. There was a famous American basketball player, John Wooden, who said you can always do more than you think you can. But there's a story when I get back home I want to kind of open up and share with you all about. One of the things I can always remember from last year when I was going through chemo, I never really talked about it much, but there were several very low moments where I thought literally, I can't go on, I can't continue, I can't continue to put this poison in my body. And I can remember talking to Joanna about it and just saying, you know, it's just too hard. It's just too hard. You know, and then I would convince myself it's okay. And so I would just tell myself over and over and over, I would just say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Just some really, really brutal times. Here I am a year later, what I would consider thriving, you know, given the stage 3 diagnosis and everything that I had to go through. So kind of let that be a testament to you can do more than you think. But what's kind of cool about it too is, I guess it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I just started getting into this whole concept of pushing myself farther, pushing myself beyond what I thought capable, and going and doing things like the Spartan race or Tough Mudders, and just kind of trying to ramp it up. And actually right before, about 4 months before my diagnosis, I went and hiked across the Grand Canyon with some family and friends. It was like 25, 26 miles from the North Rim to the South Rim. That was probably one of the hardest things I'd ever done until I started chemo. So anyway, just kind of on this constant quest, trying to do more than I thought possible. And I think that if you adopt that mindset, you'll find that it's that you'll surprise yourself. All right, I'm home from Houston. Y'all heard me talk a little bit about how you can do more than you think, and I wanted to give Joanna an opportunity to share her wisdom on that thought. Do you believe that people can do more than they think they can? Do you believe?
Yes.
Or is that false?
No. The year was 2017. Things were a little bit crazy in our lives. In January, Aaron was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and I was 8 months pregnant with our 4th child. So I had to think about what I was going to do about taking care of everybody. We also have 3 older children, and I knew my role would be caretaker to a lot of little people and one big person. We had chosen to do a home birth, a planned home birth for our 4th child, just like we did with our 3rd. Long story short, that didn't quite happen. Ended up having an emergency C-section, and I remember very vividly coming home from the hospital. The day before I came home, Aaron had left to go back to the hospital himself for another round of chemo. That's when it all really hit me, all kind of came apart. I remember sitting in the living room shortly after my dad brought me home, and though my parents were there and we had another lady there to help us, I remember sitting there holding this baby and listening to the sounds of all the other kids and thinking, there's no way, I can't do this. I cannot do life without my husband and try to take care of a baby while I can't walk. I can't really lift her up. I can't do anything. C-section is obviously...
Sorry, I'm not trying to laugh. I just remember there was a time where basically there was no able-bodied adults in the house, right?
Right, because first of all, there was a time where there were 3 people in our family that were all in the hospital, and 2 of those people were the adults in the family.
50% of our family was in the hospital.
Well, Aaron was on chemo, he could not drive, and after I had a C-section, I could not drive. So neither one of us could drive anywhere. Neither one of us could walk, and it was crazy. So I remember very vividly sitting in the living room, listening to everybody holding this baby, and just having this moment that there's no way I can't do this. And yeah, it all kind of fell apart at that moment. But that's when I kind of started to realize too that there really was no way I could do it, that the strength was not really in my hands. And I'm thankful that while going through that experience, I also had a very strong faith in Christ, and that idea of I can do all things through Christ who can give me strength, who gives me strength, really became apparent during that time. For me, strength really lied not in my own ability, but in what I put my faith and trust in, and where my source of strength came from. So, but it is amazing when you're pushed all the way to the very, very brink of yourself, to go through that, to keep going in each day, and to come out the other side feeling pretty incredible in what you're able to do. So
it was ridiculous. It was moment by moment, meal by meal. Like, how are we going to feed these people in the house?
And the emotional downside of like, I want to put my kids to bed, and I couldn't go downstairs and be with my children at bedtime because I couldn't walk up and down the stairs. And when at one point my dad drove me down the hill so that I could go down.
Oh, that's right.
And put my kids to bed. And when you have a baby, you think, well, I'm going to be out of the picture for a while, but my husband will be there, you know. And to have neither one of us there, that was hard. To see Aaron going through what he was going through for chemo and being in the hospital, and I couldn't even go be there with him. There was the emotional weight of it all was really difficult. I also just saw many victories and just letting go of control, and just seeing the things that I was able to push myself through, and getting out of bed each day and taking care of everybody, and the incredible community that was around us. So
awesome.
You can do more than you think you can.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And we were thinking as well, we would love to hear y'all's stories. If there was a moment that you were facing or a trial that you were in the middle of, it would be cool. I mean, it'd be cool if you just typed it out in the comments, but it'd be even cooler if you recorded your own YouTube video and then linked it in the comments so we could see it and actually hear you talk about it. We're trying to encourage others. Love to be encouraged as well if you want to share your story. Anyway, all right, we're gonna go in and grab some food.
Because why, Aaron?
Because it's our 12th wedding anniversary.
Woo woo. Okay, so we're leaving the restaurant, and we had some Italian. It was okay. It wasn't quite what we were hoping it would be. Notice that we're very flushed because it was extremely warm in the restaurant. I'm a little
It's about
sweaty.
110 degrees in there.
They had their oven going. There's an oven going outside.
It's currently 98 degrees outside here.
It was a little roasty, so we left.
But anyway,
some of it comes out of childhood, right? I can think back to moments as I was growing up where I was pushed to do things that were uncomfortable, and I forced myself to go through them. A couple things that came to mind were, you know, spending summers hiking in New Mexico, and there's a big mountain in front of you, and there were a lot of times where I was like, I don't want to do this. Y'all are crazy. I want to go home. But I didn't really have a choice. Like, my ride was going up the mountain, and I better stay with them.
You either follow them up the mountain or you
don't. I did get left
back
behind
there alone
sometimes.
And watch out for black bears.
Yep. You just gotta have to get the mental grit that pushes you through. Personal favorite quote that came out of last year was, "You don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." And it's true, because you're sometimes put in situations you would never opt for. And you don't really get a choice as to whether or not you're going to keep going. You just kind of have to.
You just gotta suck it up, buttercup.
And just go.
Can we talk for 2 seconds about being able to do more than you think? Our 8-year-old.
Oh no! I don't want the world to know this.
No, but like, where does this come from? Our 8-year-old.
I don't know. Wait.
Asks us at dinner last night.
Disclaimer. This did not come from me.
No, it didn't come from me either or anything.
Thank you.
But our 8-year-old asks us at dinner, she asks me the question, Daddy, is it possible if I get older, can I have a pink or gray truck? And I was like, yeah, baby, you can have whatever color truck you want. Like, if you get a truck, you can. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? And she was asking these other questions and talking to us about, I don't know how we got onto it, but she's asking about taking over a business. And she's like, well, I could never do that. I could never take over what Dad does because I'm not a boy. And we were both like, Joanna and I just like dropped our forks and like, what are you talking about? And she's like, well, I'm a girl. And we're like, wait, what? Which launched us into this like 10-minute thing where like we both bowed up, and I'm afraid she felt like we got mad at her. I was like, girl, you can do whatever you want to do. And then it's just the typical like, you want to be an astronaut? You know, do you want to be an artist or the president?
Look at this person and this person and this person, and they're all really successul in business or engineering or medicine or whatever.
Yeah,
and
look at Nana. She owns her own business, you know, and
your aunt
and
your grandmother and all these people. Switch angles. Anyway, failure as a mom, especially.
Yeah.
But that's what she thought.
Could not believe that. So those of y'all that have little girls, definitely talk to them about that. I don't know where that comes from or what they thought, or like, did
I
she
don't
pick
know.
that up in a TV show or
We don't watch
in
TV.
a book? Yeah, but we set her straight, so she's
Totally.
on the path to greatness, or to
Anyway,
at least not limiting herself into doing more than she thinks she can.
and she's a really stinking smart girl.
Yeah,
Really talented.
yeah. I don't know what that's all about. We're going in the store.
It's our 12th anniversary, so we're going to celebrate with a dozen roses, and a dozen
Donuts.
And we're going to have a donut eating challenge. 'Cause
Contest.
You can do more than you think,
You can eat more donuts than you think you can.
but you can't eat more than me.
Boom.